Hi guys, I'm October, but you can call me Toby. Thanks for coming to spend some time with me today. For today's video, I am going to take one of my crochet designs and redesign it so that I can print it onto a shirt. So the one I've chosen is this little spider. Absolutely love it, which is why I want to be able to wear him on a shirt. The spider design is not my pattern, but I will link the video I made creating him up above, and the pattern itself you can find linked in that video as well. It was a lot of fun to make, and he has been a staple in my office. My son loves him, and I think it would just be really cute to have a version that I can wear on my shirt. So let's hop into redesigning this little guy and putting him on a shirt I can wear. To get to this stage where I have this simplified version of my crochet spider, I used a photo that I liked the pose and everything of, and I popped that into Gemini, and I got Gemini to transpose it into something more sketch-like, which gave me a great sketch with a lot of detail. I did start doing this on my own by hand because I don't tend to use AI in my art, but doing this by hand in a photo editor was very painstaking. It took a lot longer than I would want it to, and considering it was my own image, my own creation, I figured why not get a helping hand, make this go a little quicker, and use AI to speed up the process. Exactly what I was looking for. Once I had the very detailed image that I got out of Gemini, I could print that out and then simplify it by hand, which is what you can see here is my simplified version, which I have drawn by hand in pencil. I'm going over that with this texter, which is just a normal old texter, to thicken up my lines so that I have a very clear line to follow when I am drawing this onto my lino. The texter also will give me very clear points of the lines I want to keep. So for instance, those pupils, I want to keep them when I cut out my lino. The way I have always done it is you kind of got to think in reverse. Whatever you're drawing is what you want to keep. So those pupils and those nice thick outlines, and now these finer outlines of where the stitches and the color changes sort of happen. These are the lines I want to keep and cut around. So I do need there to be some width in a lot of them. And I'm doing these stitch lines with a fine liner so that lets me know that those ones are meant to be a finer line later on when I am cutting this out of lino. I'm going to use a chunk of graphite, I'm not really sure what these are called, just to scribble all over the back of this design that I have now. I'm going to cut that out and I will tape that onto my slice of lino that I have here. Once I've placed this down, I don't want to move it because the graphite on the back will smudge all over the lino and give me a lot of trouble when I'm trying to decipher the imprint that I've put onto the lino later. Just taping that down with some washi tape, and I'll use a pen to go over my lines again, trying to keep those texture lines nice and thick. And what this is doing is pushing the graphite that I have scribbled all over the back onto the lino. You can also use transfer paper to do this. Like, I know a lot of places just sell transfer paper. I've always done it using a 6B pencil or a chunk of graphite like I have in this video. They're just cheaper options because the chunk of graphite, I've had it for a good several years at this point. And when I peel that off, you can see that now I have that design on my lino. This is in graphite, so it can smudge pretty easily still at this stage, but I find it's not too bad. Like, it's not as smudgy as it would be on paper. I'm now going to use a knife just to cut out or cut into my lino to make this a bit smaller. I don't need this whole piece of lino, so I'm going to make my outline of where I want to cut and then just use some scissors once I've cut through that quite a bit to extract this smaller piece of lino from the larger piece. Now my lino is free and I have this fun little shape. I'm going to use my lino cutting tool and go around the outside of my design. So I'm going to go fully around the outside and then use a much flatter, more shovel shaped tip on my lino cutting tool. Those tips are interchangeable and different tips give you different outcomes. So this one's quite a pointed V tip, which means you get a very deep line and it's not too wide. Like, depending on how deep you push it, it's not too wide. So that's great for these sort of details where I'm going into all these edge bits. And then a nice sort of like flatter more shovel shaped tip will help me remove a lot of that excess lino that I have surrounding this spider design. Now you can see I've removed all the excess lino on the outside. It's all very flat, and just how much lino I removed, there's more. It's like flicked all over my desk, all over my floor. If you're new to it, just be careful. These cutting tools are sharp. They are little knives, and when I first learned to do this back in school, I had to have many band-aids and trips to first aid because of, cutting my fingers by accident. You will notice that I have a pink backdrop in this video. That's a silicone mat, and it's providing a bit more friction for the lino print to sit on. If your lino is slipping and sliding all over the place, you are much more likely to cut yourself. So I popped the silicone down. It adheres a bit better to the silicone. There's not so much slip. I'm going to run through and just cut out this whole spider, and I'll be cutting in kind of stitch like ways. So I'll be going back and forth and doing lots of little cuts to represent like the stitches of the crochet. Now that everything is fully cut out, I'm going to just use some watered down paint on a paper towel, and I'm just going to rub that over the lino print so that I can get a clear picture of what is left and what is raised quite high. So you can see that is laying down onto the surfaces that are highest, which are the surfaces that are going to print onto my shirt. Once I've got a nice amount of color on there so I can really see what's going on, I'll do some final cuts just to finalize the design and make it so that I'm happy with how it's going to print, and then we'll move on to the printing process. I did have a few little errors and mistakes when I was cleaning up my print there with my final cuts, but that is what it is. I can't put the lino back now that it's been accidentally trimmed off, so I'm just going to move forward. And I did a couple of practice prints. This print, which is coloured, is using the Lumiere by Jacquard paints, and then this black print is using the actual lino printing ink. And the reason I did a test of these two is so that I can wash them and dry them and see how they come up. So they have been washed and dried at this point. The actual lino printing ink transferred a lot better. The Jacquard paint was very difficult to actually print with. So my plan moving forward is to use the lino printing paint for my actual lino print, and then I can fill in some color with my Jacquard paints. So let's go and do that now. I'm going to use this white AS color shirt. It's 100% cotton, and something else I learned whilst doing those practices was that those paints will seep directly through the fabric and make a mess of your desk or the back of a shirt in this case. So I'm going to pop a piece of foam in between the layers of the shirt to protect the back of the shirt. Once I have that positioned correctly, you can see the spider here. Very messy now because, as I said, the Jacquard paint was very difficult to actually lay onto the lino print and to print. And so yeah, he's quite a mess now, but he will still work fine. To lay down my ink, I'm going to use this book cover. I have a roller and my lino printing ink. This is a little bamboo press, so I'm going to use that to put pressure on my print and transfer it, and then just a palette knife to get that lino printing ink out. Giving this a little bit of a mix because the ink has been sitting for a while. I'm going to lay that out on the cover of the book, and then I'll use my roller to spread it out and get it nice and even. So I just go back and forth in a square. You want to make sure that there are no lumps and bumps. It should look even as you roll it out. And now I'm going to roll the ink onto the print. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this on top of a white shirt, but I'm just doing it for video's sake. You can see the actual print itself is getting nice and shiny where that ink is transferring. Once I'm happy with the layers, I'm going to lay that down, give it a press. Now I'm going to use a friction pen just to outline the lino print itself so that when I want to lay this down again, I should be able to more or less get it in the same spot. This pen will disappear with heat, so if you iron this later, the pen lines will just completely disappear. Using that bamboo pressure tool just to press this out and peeling it off, how satisfying is that? It's printed on the shirt. I could stop at this point and just use, a paintbrush and a little bit of the ink to tidy up the pupil and the eye there that haven't printed that well. But instead I'm going to grab my Lumiere paints. I've let this sit for a little bit, it's dried, and I'm going to use a brush, and this is going to be my outline. I'll be putting those paints on top and adding a little bit of color to this. These paints layer really well. They go on very opaque and they do have shine. When you iron them, the shine of them does increase a little bit. I am limited in the paints that I have, but these colors I think will work pretty well together. And on the legs, I'm just going to blend a couple colors on each leg because he does have blendy legs. Alright, I figured I would take this chance while I'm painting to just have a chat with you like I do during what used to be my vlogs. Sort of zoom out a little bit and have a chat with you guys whilst I'm working on the piece. The reason I decided to try out lino print, the most recent lino printing I've done would have to be when I was like 17, 18, back in high school. Some of my tools actually I may have nicked from the art class, or either I got permission to take them home to work on my piece over weekends and stuff and maybe forgot to return them. I think this one in particular, like, it's a little bamboo press. The cutter, pretty sure they were from school. I don't think I purchased them per se, and conveniently they all still are completely functional and great to use. My pieces were, like, I have a piece here that's a hillside from where I grew up, and this tree which I lino print onto it, and then I watercolored in the background landscape. Another one was like a lino print of my cat in amongst all of these trees walking down a walkway in the woods, and I used the oil pastels to create the coloring in the background. So this isn't a brand new medium. I really loved it in high school when we tried out lots of things in high school, as you do in your art classes, but I really loved this one, so it's what I picked to use as my medium for my year 12 artwork, my year 12 piece that I submitted. Lino print is something that I've previously had a lot of love for and wanted to get back to. I thought it would be fun to jazz up some of my plain shirts with some of my little creations. This spider I just adore. The original pattern for him is not mine, but I think I crocheted him up in like a few hours, and I do have a video of making him on my channel. It's in amongst the Halloween stuff from last October, I do believe. It's been really lovely to get back to this, and I get to put some of my own designs onto shirts, which is kind of something I not always wanted, but like, I love having fun prints and things on shirts, and a lot of the time whatever's sort of trending or fashionable at the time may not align with exactly what I want. I do hope everyone's doing okay. Coming into February, it's been an interesting start to the year, hasn't it? There's been a lot going on. I don't want this channel to become political and things like that, but there's definitely a lot going on that I maybe don't support or agree with. So a lot of them are not happening directly in my country, but the impacts are felt everywhere from a lot of these things, and social media makes it all very visible, but also it's a lot to be opening up apps and getting bombarded with all this negativity non-stop. So hopefully coming here and watching these can be a little bit of an escape. It's definitely an escape for me when I'm making things. I do think it would be really cool on this shirt. I have this super sparkle white. I think it would be cool to like do a web design once this is done behind him, and it would kind of only pick up when the light hit it just right, which is sort of how webs are. On a black shirt it would look awesome because it would pop out, but on this it would kind of be a bit hidden. So I don't know, I'm tempted, playing with the idea of maybe doing that. And my little guy went off to kinder and he was so excited for it. I know a lot of parents have anxiety around starting kinder, leaving them in someone else's care for several hours, and how will they go being separated. And it was a bit tricky. I've had a lot of comments from some mums I know that like, oh well, he'll be fine because you have a nanny, so he's away from you and he's used to it already. But it's very different because my nanny that I have come and look after him, I'm always still here. He comes in for cuddles, he comes in to see me and tell me things throughout the time that she's here. It's just a matter of I don't have to spend every second of that time focused solely on him. I can focus on something else and just enjoy those little moments where he pops in and shows me or tells me or something or gives me a cuddle. But I'm always around. Like, it's even pretty rare that I have an appointment during those days, and if I do, I'm gone for an hour at most, and then I'm back. So he is very used to having access to me pretty much all the time. He's very independent regardless of that, and he's just getting more and more independent. I didn't think he'd have a lot of trouble. I didn't have a lot of anxiety around me not being there for him because I know he'll be okay, and I knew I'd be plenty distracted because I've got all this arts and crafts to do and videos to film and things to do. So there's plenty of distractions for me to not sort of dwell on it, which has been a blessing in and of itself. It's been really good. He's loving it, absolutely adoring it. He's there today, absolutely loving it. He gets all this time to play outside. We're working outside at the moment. You may notice in some videos that I seem to have like bruising coming up my thumbs or dark patches there, and that is bruising because I'm digging up the backyard to put down tiles, pavers, and digging up another part of the backyard to put in a garden. We want to do our own herbs and stuff. Also working on getting the lawn really prospering so that we have a nice lawn to play on. So our backyard's not in the best state for him to be spending time out there. He definitely can't be out there unmonitored at the moment, but we're working on it to get it to a spot where it's much more child friendly and safe for him to be out there. And at least at this point now we have a nice big lawn, and like, it's not too far off. I'll definitely be digging up for quite a while yet. So if you notice in some videos my hands look a bit rough, that will be because I'm still working outside. I expect, because I'm just digging it up by hand, it'll take quite a while to do it. But yeah, just decided that I'd do it by hand rather than paying someone to come in and do it. And that's another reason why I'm giving my nails a good rest in the new year from polish, since I went pretty hard on the polish through last year, the end of last year. But also doing the yard work out the back, it just would not last. I'd be having to redo it every couple days, which would destroy my nails for one thing, but just not worth it time-wise right now. So 2 birds, 1 stone. My nails get a breather and I save some time trying to keep the polish looking nice, because I think my bare nails, even though they're a bit rough at the moment, look better than chipped and mangy polish. So it's everything going on in my life at the moment outside of video work. And I am absolutely adoring working on this spider. Like, it's fun. I've only got a few colors, but it's so much fun to be able to play with these colors and do little blends. And, you know, I could really make this spider any color I wanted, which is a lot of fun. I'm on the hunt for like a new denim jacket, and I think it'd be really fun to like try out embroidery on that, and maybe on the back panel do some prints of my own, or maybe just some painting. I'm not too sure yet, but I think that would be really fun for a future video. I hope you enjoyed that little vlog style section. Might do those in videos here and there where I'm not doing a tutorial, so we'll see how that works. Just finishing off with these front legs, and then I will just do some touch-ups on some bits that have got a little bit faded out, or I've lost the definition that I wanted in the colors. I'm going to do another print with the lino cut now, so rolling out my ink, applying it to the lino, and I'll do my best to line that up again. And I'm not too happy with how that printed, so I'm going to go again. I'm going to roll out a bit more ink and do a 3rd print on top, just to get those black lines nice and solid. I'll go in now with some of this white paint from the Jacquard paints, just to do the eye shines, and then I'll use the black paint from the Jacquard paints, which is matte, and I'm just going to tidy up a couple bits where I made mistakes cutting the lino and lost some of my lines, and where some of the pupils and things just didn't print quite right. Now that that is done, it is time to let this dry before I give it an iron, and then I'll decide if I want to add a web onto the shirt in that white sparkly Jacquard paint, and then it will be onto the final shots. Thanks for watching today's video. If you liked it, hit subscribe down below so that you don't miss any future uploads. And let me know in the comments what you thought of my lino print version of the little crochet spider. I am super happy with how it turned out. I will probably be wearing this shirt quite a bit now that it is not so plain, and I plan to do some of the other characters as well. So let me know who you would like to see next. I am pretty keen to do Mighty Mouse, so I'll probably do Mighty Mouse next. But if you're really keen for someone else, let me know down in the comments below. Have a great day.